Ocala.
All right, 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Seth Posner is in the studio. We haven't seen Seth in a while. He is with AA Lock, Dock, and Security. He's the owner of that company, and he puts in security systems and locks and on your businesses, on your homes. And we were just talking about something off the air that got my attention, and I'm hoping it will yours as well. Good morning, Seth. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing fine.
Yeah, we were talking about this idea that you can have somebody, maybe, I don't even know if they're listed in the yellow pages, or you'll see them with a magnetic sign on their car, and they may not necessarily be real locksmiths. Maybe they understand a little bit about locks, and that's it. What's the danger of hiring somebody like that?
Well, you definitely want to be able to hire somebody that has the experience in the field, and that there's all kinds of people that come about saying that they're a locksmith when they don't have any real experience. There's certain tools that can be used to unlock a car that are pretty much accessible to anybody. The complete lockout kit to unlock a car, that's a lot more obscured, and these guys, they dabble in it. They call themselves a locksmith, and they're really not. They don't have the knowledge, the experience, or the expertise, or the security background that they need to protect everybody out there.
And that would be if you were going to call a locksmith typically because of a lock, it would be maybe the lock is loose on your door, or maybe you just moved into a place and you don't want the previous keys to work it. That's normally, I would think, what most people call you for. But what am I not seeing because I'm not in the business? You must see all kinds of things beyond that.
Oh, absolutely. There's guys running around in cars, and they work out of a car, and they have magnetic signs, or they have what they call the pizza delivery signs on the roof of their car.
Right.
And we take pride in the fact that we've got lettered vehicles on the road that are permanent vehicles, service vehicles. We're equipped to perform pretty much any service out of our truck.
Right.
Where these guys, like I said, they're just running around out of the trunk of their car.
Are the locks and the security systems incorporated in some way? In other words, if somebody were, I don't even know if people pick locks anymore, but if somebody was to jimmy my lock on my front door, would that set off an alarm if I had such a system?
Just by picking the lock, no. If the door had an alarm system attached to it, then yes.
Okay, so that's the secret. You have to have the alarm system.
Correct.
Okay. And that brings us to the other topic we were talking about. I've had calls before asking me if I have ADT or some other company, and I'll just say, well, I don't know why you need to know, but thanks for the call, and hang up, or I won't even thank them. I'll just hang up. And I don't even know if they're real, but they came to my door one time and asked me if I had the system. So let me ask you about that. When in the afternoon, Glenn Beck was always talking about getting your own alarm system rather than getting it through a company. Can you talk about that a little bit? What's the pros and cons?
Well, absolutely. With an alarm system that's monitored, there's several steps that have to take place. If the alarm actually is triggered and the central station receives the signal, they have to make several phone calls before they're ever going to dispatch the police department, because it's trying to prevent false alarms. So by the time that the call is actually dispatched out, you could have 10, 15 minutes that have already passed by, and then by that point, generally the people are going to be out of the house if it is a real burglary. And with an alarm system, with these guys coming in, they're offering these bare bones packages. With the bare bones package, or they could be doing something where it's free or $99 for installation, but then they upsell you and they charge you big prices for any add-on windows or add-on doors or extra motion detectors or keypads, and then they charge you a real hefty monthly contract fee for the monitoring, and they lock you into it for usually 3 or 4, sometimes 5 years.
Wow.
And they have it auto-renewing,
Wow.
and it makes it very difficult to get out of your contract. If we were to install an alarm system, we would actually come in, we were going to sell you the alarm system, we're going to be upfront with you. You own the system. If you don't want to use us, that's fine. You own the system. You can go to any other company with it. It's not proprietary equipment. It can be reprogrammed. You don't have to have it monitored. A lot of places, including myself actually, for my house, I have my system set to call my cell phone. So if something happens, I know about it before anybody else.
Oh, wow.
And then I can choose what I want to do at that point.
Can you test it? I mean, do you test it, and what do you hear on your phone? What does it say? I mean, does it tell you, hey, somebody just opened the door, or?
It depends on what we're actually utilizing to call. Right now, I'm just calling myself, and my phone will ring 3 times simultaneously. And then I know that it's my alarm system, but we can do other features where it's actually calling and leaving a digital, like a text message on your phone.
Wow. And so let's say I have this set up. Can I then check my house with some kind of a video surveillance or something?
If you had a camera system, absolutely. You could log into the camera system and kind of scan your own property and see what's going on.
Is it a good idea to put up signs in your yard about the system that you have in your house, or should you just leave the signs off?
Signs are always a good deterrent. It doesn't always mean that people are going to obey the sign, but signs are always a real good deterrent, because they're going to generally go to a house that doesn't have any kind of notification over the ones that do have the notifications.
Mm-hmm. And is it good in the evening times to have like those solar lights around part of your property? That way at night there's at least some kind of light that's shining up to your window or your front door, or something that'll deter.
They some of the stats actually show that you want to set different lights up on different timers, so they come on at different times. So even if you're on vacation, it still looks like somebody's in the house, somebody's home, because you get a different light that's coming on at a different time.
Yeah, I would imagine that those motion lights, I mean, they must scare off some people. But if you really wanted to test it, you could walk up and then walk out and walk. Oh, it's a motion sensor, right?
Right.
Is there a way that it can't be tricked like that? Is there a way to set it up so that if somebody were doing that, it wouldn't do that?
On a motion light?
Yeah.
On a motion light, they do have a switch that you can actually turn it from motion to, a constant on.
Okay.
But there's really no reason to have a constant on if you're going for that application of motion.
Wow. So getting back to the fake locksmiths. What kind of, do you have any stories? I would love to hear them. I mean, let's give the guy, I'm not giving the guy credence, but let's give him the benefit of the doubt. He's just trying to make a living, and he's not selling anything other than fixing your front door lock or something like that. Could he actually create a problem with that if he was putting in the wrong lock or something? What would happen?
It's not so much that they're putting in the wrong lock. Generally, what will happen is you're calling a phone number that isn't a local number. They use, if they're advertising an address that actually doesn't exist. Usually you're calling some kind of an 800 number to get somebody, and then you're getting a price quoted to you on the phone, and it's usually a generalized price for somebody to come out, and it's usually a very low price. Just to get them out there, and once the technician gets out on site, he'll come up with a line of garbage that he can't pick the lock. It's a real secure lock. I mean, it can be just a basic lock.
Oh, really?
And then it says, I'll have to drill the lock. So a simple bill that could have been anywhere from $75 to $100 bill through a company like myself could turn into an $800, $900, $1,000 plus bill.
I gotcha. Okay, and see, I wasn't even following that when you first said it. I thought you were basically hinting that they would set you up to be able to break into your house later on. That might happen now and then, but it sounds like the bigger problem is that they will overcharge you for something that a normal, like a guy like yourself, a guy whose license would be able to.
Right. When we quote something on the phone, that is the price. We don't stray from our price unless we get out there and the situation is completely different than what was discussed on the phone. If we get out and it's to make keys for a car, and we get out there and we find out that the person has already tried getting the lock out themselves, put a screwdriver in it, drilled it. Well, now we're in a completely different situation, so we have to charge accordingly for that. Yeah. But if we quote a price on the phone, that is the price. We don't stray from that price.
Man, I have an extra key hanging up in my home just in case I lose my car key. It's just one of those things. All right, we'll take a little break and we'll be right back. If you want to call Seth during the course of the show, you can call 622-9622. If you want to call Seth at AA Lock, Dock, and Security, what is the number over there?
It's 352-867-1965.
And we'll repeat that before the end of the program. But right now, let's take a break. And again, if you want to call Seth, the number is 622-WOCA. We'll be right back.
The Weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. We'll see clouds and sun today, and there can be a shower with thunderstorm in spots this morning, the high 82 to 86. Clear to partly cloudy tonight, those 62 inland, 70 along the coast. For tomorrow, times of clouds and sunshine. Watch out for a shower with thunderstorm along the coastal areas, the high 83 to 87. Thursday, mostly cloudy with a couple of showers and thunderstorms around, high 81 to 85. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
You've got a garden and we've got a show for you called You've Got a Garden with your host, Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. Carol Ann answers your questions about your flowers, your veggies, your grass, your trees, even questions about your bugs. And she's only on WOCA, so don't miss Carol Ann Baldwin and You've Got a Garden each Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on WOCA The Source.
Hi, Danny Warfel here. Get moving with Florida Credit Union's fast and easy loan approval process.
Let Florida Credit Union start up a new car loan for you today. No more waiting, hassles, or stop signs. You can even apply online. With a strong financial team behind you, you can enjoy great rates and fast approvals.
It's all about personalized service and a streamlined process.
Florida Credit Union, connecting your money to your life.
Real estate is the largest and most personal investment that any of us will ever make. Be sure to tune in Tuesdays at 10 a.m. when Bob Kennedy, owner of Berkshire Hathaway Home Team Realty, will be answering your questions and discussing real estate. So remember, that's Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Call 622-9622 with your questions. It pays to be an informed buyer or seller. This is news you can use from Berkshire Hathaway Home Team Realty and your friends here at WOCA.
Career Source, Citrus, Levy, Marion brings together business and community partners, economic development leaders, and educational providers to connect employers with qualified, skilled talent and job seekers with employment and career development opportunities. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of each month at 9:30 a.m. to Career Source, Citrus, Levy, Marion, and learn how they can help you.
That was the sound of a tree falling. It could be your tree. You're going to have it trimmed, but never got around to calling Pride Tree Service. It could have fallen in a field, and now all you have to do is call Pride Tree Service, and they'll have it quickly out of the way for a great price. But don't wait until the tree falls. It may not fall in the field. It may hit your car, your house, or worse. So call Pride Tree Service today and avoid all those headaches before they happen. Pride Tree Service, 840-0750. That's 840-0750.
WOCA.
All right, 18 minutes after 11 o'clock. Okay, Seth just handed us these blank keys with lights on them. These like little tiny
Those
light. You
are cool.
squeeze the head of the key, and it shines a light. How long will that battery last? Forever?
No, it won't last forever. It's got a little coin battery in it. Unfortunately, the key has to be replaced if the battery dies because it's not a replaceable battery.
Oh, okay.
But my sister's been using one for the last 9 years, and it's been
9
still
years.
working.
Oh, wow.
She ended up breaking the plastic on it, and then so we had to replace hers.
Wow.
That's pretty cool. And what
That
was the
is
one? What
nice.
was the one I saw with the little funnel? It has a funnel so you can feel the opening to the keyhole. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
I think I saw this at Lowe's or something. It's like got a V over the hole. So if you can feel the lock part, just get your key into the little V and just slide it down, and it goes right into the hole.
Interesting design.
No
I
light
can see the
necessary.
And actually, as I'm looking at this does have 2 Phillips head screws on there, so you can replace the battery.
Oh, isn't that
Oh,
nice?
wow. Well, how much does it cost to have a house key made?
Those keys are generally $4.95.
Wow, that's so affordable.
And the car key is way more expensive because of that chip in it, right?
If we're in the new modern cars, yes, it definitely depends on the price of the or type of car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this little flashlight I have didn't last long. I don't even think it's working anymore.
When you go to you were talking before about when you go to businesses, now you have to upgrade not just the keys, but you have to do something else.
Right. Doing as far as the locks on a business, it's no different than doing a remodel. If you're replacing 40% of the hardware on the doors, you have to upgrade everything to ADA, upgrade everything to code.
Oh, okay.
So if we're just doing a swap for a swap, one to one or 2 for 2 or something like that, then it's not a big deal. We can replace a knob with a knob. But if we're replacing majority of the hardware, we've got to upgrade you.
And is that what the home inspectors look for when they come to inspect a home when you're going to sell a business or something? They actually look at that?
Inspections on houses, not generally, but inspection on a business, absolutely. The city inspector, the fire inspectors, they're definitely making the rounds and making sure that everybody is up to code and they're enforcing the codes.
You have a couple phone calls coming in, so let's take these calls. And good morning. You're on the air with Seth.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. With the security system, if you send out a false alarm, I'm referring to what happened to my brother-in-law down in Orlando. He's got a motion-sensitive device, and they were gone, but the dog was home, and the dog knocked something over, and it sent the cops over. If you have a false alarm on the system, you get a bill from the police department for coming?
Yes and no. The yes is you're allowed, or the no is you're allowed 3 false alarms per year, and then anything after 3 false alarms, then they charge you.
Oh, you know
wow.
what the charge is usually?
Depends on the municipality. Sometimes it's $75, but I hear lately I've been seeing more of the $125 charges.
Oh yeah, so you do get 3 free ones though, huh?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. You had another phone call, but the caller has gone away. So if you're listening, the line is open now. The number is 622-9622.
Do you do all sorts of dwellings like mobile homes, fish camps, brick and mortar homes?
We will do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And Seth, you have a phone call. Good morning. You're on the air with Seth.
Good morning.
Good morning. How is everybody?
All right.
I have a question about an alarm situation. I guess I hate the term snowbird, but I have a home here and I'm in New York, and to get homeowners insurance, I had to have an alarm system with a central call out. So I ended up dealing with one of the brand names, no need to mention the name. And I worked 35 years as an electrician and a teledata foreman in New York City. I run big jobs. And I told them this wireless system wasn't going to work. Well, lo and behold, it's been 3 years and it hasn't worked. And they haven't done every time I call them, they don't fix it. Am I legally able to get out of that contract because I can't use the alarm?
It depends on what content they have in that contract. A lot of these guys will do everything in their power when they're writing their contracts to cover themselves, to where they make it very difficult for you to get out of the contract. If there is something in there, which there should be, about loss of use or loss of service, and you can prove it to them, then you should be able to break the contract by that.
Yeah, because right now I'm ready to call a credit card company and say stop payments on it because it was monthly billing. But I've had 8 visits here, and every guy was more incompetent than the last guy. These guys couldn't work for me for 2 weeks, let alone years. And like I said, I've dealt with life safety. They have 3 structures on my property, and they put a wireless system in. And I said, you cannot use wireless, and they're not in a temperature-controlled environment. The guy says, I didn't know what I was talking about. He was about 22 years old. Like I said, I've done this my whole life. But lo and behold, as soon as I leave my house, I get to the airport to fly to New York, the alarm goes off because of the temperature change in the buildings. And right now, I called my insurance company and told them that this company has not been able to set the alarm, and that the onus should be on them, not me, if something happens while I'm not here. But right now, they just really keep doing a great stroke job. Oh yeah, we want to help you, but nobody's done anything.
And what you're describing is actually a prime example of what these guys come in and try to sell is the bottom line, the cheap bottom line product, and then usually they're trying to upsell you for something that's going to handle some of the temperature controls, for something that's going to handle animals, and it sounds like your motion detector specifically is just the bare bones basic, and it's not the infrared is being too sensitive for the environment change.
That's what I told him when he was installing it, but he told me, no, these are all new systems. And meanwhile, I installed systems, life safety systems in Times Square, where security was pretty tight in all those office buildings. And this guy told me I didn't know anything. I said, all right, maybe there's a better product. I don't know. But apparently I was right.
Yeah, you're absolutely right on that one. That unfortunately that's what these guys try to do. These companies can't keep quality people, so they just hire anybody, give them a little weak training, and then they're off and running and start trying to sell something, and they don't know exactly what they're selling.
And I found out when it was all said and done that the company that I heard that I was under the assumption that I was paying to install it, this company that put it in was not part of that company. They put the system in under the masking that they were this company, and then sold it to that company after it was installed.
Yep, we definitely see a lot of that. A lot of private individual guys that come in as a sub to the master company.
Okay. One last question. Now, these systems now that you can buy yourself to go to your cell phone, is that considered, would you know why insurance companies accept that, or they need a central call out to the police department?
That's actually a question that I cannot answer at the moment. There are insurance companies that will accept that because of how stringent the code has gotten for central station monitoring. They've got to make 3 phone calls to be able to verify that signal before they're going to dispatch. If they can't reach anybody, then they're going to go ahead and dispatch. So you could have a direct, if you have a camera system and alarm system and you're calling and the alarm system's calling you directly, and then you're able to verify with that camera system, there's a very good chance that insurance company is going to accept that.
Okay, yeah, because really it's, I was surprised because to get homeowners insurance, not being a state resident, you have to have a security system. For everywhere I went anyways, I couldn't find an insurance company that would give me homeowners insurance.
That's interesting.
Yeah, they would not give it to me. And the amazing part is the homeowners insurance cost me more for this house here that's worth about 1/8 of the house in New York. It costs twice as much down here because I don't live here.
Wow.
And it does in New York. Yeah, it's a real catch-22 with it. All right, listen, thanks a lot. I enjoy your show. I really appreciate your advice.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was a good question about the insurance. Would they recognize it if it called you as opposed to the police department?
It's something that I'd have to follow up with and get direct answers on. I know that there are some insurance companies that are more lax than others that will accept stuff like that.
But there's no system that calls you guys, right? Nobody calls AA Lock Doc?
Oh, I don't want a system to call me.
Well, I didn't know if that was part of what you offered. And the other thing he said, I mean, if you don't live here, but you have like a part-time home, it's more expensive, I guess, huh?
Was not aware of that.
Didn't know that either. Wow.
When you set up a home with a security system and they have the main entrance and a garage entrance, and say the entrance for a separate apartment for like the grandparents or something like that, can you set up different security codes at each entrance?
Yes.
Or is it the same? Oh, you can?
Absolutely. It's what we call partitioning the system. So we can set it up to where one door can be disarmed with one code, another door can be disarmed with another code.
But if you come in one door and you disarm that and then you're milling around the house, the other one is still active?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
So is that how like the hotels do it? They change the code when there's a new, like in hotels, every day they're giving a new key out. So and the guy with the electronic keys I'm talking about. So they must change that code every day.
No, the room keys, when they program them, they're set to expire at a certain time.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yep, they do all the programming right on the counter, and those keys are set to expire at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, whatever move-out time is.
Wow.
Oh.
I see. I haven't been in a hotel in a while.
How would we know that, though?
So you could do that. You could do that in your home. Not that you would want to expire it, but let's say you were renting out a room and that tenant left. You change that code, and the new tenant moves in.
Absolutely. With the electronic locks that are on the market today, we have codes with expiration date, or we have locks with expiration date, so we can set the code, anything we want inside of it.
Or if you were a landlord, I mean, in all the houses that you rented out, you could. They don't pay their rent, you can lock them out.
Right. If you have a 1-year lease, you go ahead and program the code, and you program a 1-year expiration date. So at that 1-year mark, that code is dead.
I don't know if that'd be legal.
Until you make sure that you're getting the rent or the new contract for the following year, and then it becomes active again.
That is amazing.
Gosh, it goes too quick. And I had another question about large businesses like the Cascades. We were going to talk about the keys there because I know that they had a system where I couldn't get the keys made. When Robin first came on board, I wanted to get her a key, and I couldn't do it. I had to go through the maintenance man because he had the the license, I guess, whatever?
It's just a restricted key application. So we have several applications that are restricted keys that we're able to do the same thing, where we maintain the records. We have signature requirements and everything in order to be able to duplicate keys.
Seth, it went too quick. Thank you for coming in. What's your phone number?
867-1965.
And your website?
Is www.aalockdoc.com.
Okay. Thank you, Seth. Call us here if you need Seth's information repeated. We'll be glad to do that for you. We'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. An initial court appearance for the Oklahoma Reserve deputy who shot a suspect to death as that person was pinned down by officers. The 73-year-old pleading not guilty to second-degree manslaughter.
Robert Bates claims he got confused while pursuing Eric Harris and drew his firearm instead of his taser.
Fox Radio's Evan Brown. Senate Majority Leader